There's one strength training mistake that's keeping more people over 50 stuck than anything else. And no, it's not bad form or choosing the wrong exercises. It's actually something much simpler, and if you know how to fix it, you can break plateaus and stay strong for years to come. I'm Will Harlow, a physiotherapist and over-50s specialist, and I'm here to tell you today about a mistake I see in many people over 50 that's keeping them stuck and how you can break it. The problem isn't usually what they're doing, it's how they're doing it. These people are showing up, they're putting in the work, they're lifting weights, but the mistake is they're not doing it with enough intensity. And here's the key. If after 50 you're not training with enough intensity, your body simply will not adapt. That means no gains in strength, no gains in muscle, and maybe even a loss of strength and mobility over time. So in today's video, I'm going to show you what the right level of intensity looks like so that you can stop spinning your wheels and actually see great results in terms of strength and muscle. Now, when I say you need to train with more intensity, that doesn't mean lifting the heaviest weights you could find or pushing through pain. In fact, intensity is more about the effort you put in rather than how much weight you lift. And you can have a really intense workout with moderate or even light weights, or even just your body weight. It's all about effort, not about how much weight you're lifting. One of the best ways to measure intensity is to use something called reps in reserve, or RIR for short. And reps in reserve is basically at the end of every set, you ask yourself the question, how many more repetitions could I have done of that exercise with good form before I ran out of gas? Now, what we should be aiming for is somewhere in the region of 2 to 3 reps in reserve for most people over the age of 50. That means you finish your set, it was pretty hard, but if someone forced you to, you could have done an extra maybe 2 or 3 reps at a push. This also means that if you could easily have done 10 more when you put the weight down, it was probably too easy and chances are nothing happened to your muscles. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're doing a set of goblet squats to strengthen your legs. You do 10 repetitions, but if I asked you, could you have done more? You said, well, I could probably have done 5 or 10 more if I was pushing myself. That's not enough. But if you said, do you know what? I was right near the end of my capacity, but I probably could have done 2 at a push. That's perfect. And you're in the sweet spot for building muscle and strength. Let me give you a few simple self-checks for you to make sure that you're in the right zone. First, ask yourself after each set, was that a 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of effort? We don't want to be cruising, but we don't want to be redlining either. The second tip I've got for you is to watch your form. Now, if you're doing a weight and before you reach the end of the set, you're having to cheat to finish it, that means the weight's probably too much and it means your intensity is too high. But if your last rep looks absolutely identical to your first rep, that means it's probably too easy and you need to make it harder. Now, as a guideline, you want your last rep to look similar to your first rep, but it should be slower and you should have to really concentrate to get that last rep out whilst keeping good form. Third, look for signs of muscle fatigue. Slight muscle shaking, laboured breathing, or the need to really focus to finish that set are all really good signs that you're pushing yourself hard enough to see a change. And remember, intensity looks different for everyone. What's challenging for you today might not be challenging for you tomorrow, but that's the idea, to make slow and steady progress while reducing the risk of injury. So to recap, the biggest strength training mistake I see in people over 50 is not training with enough intensity. It's not about pushing yourself so hard that you might get injured or making yourself feel sick with every workout. It's about pushing your muscles to the point where they're challenged. You can do that by finding 2 or 3 reps in reserve and making sure you're seeing some of those signs of fatigue with every workout. And don't be afraid to feel a little uncomfortable at the end of each set, because that is where real change starts to happen. Anyway, if you're one of the many people over 50 who's interested in building strength and muscle, I recorded a 25-minute video where I break down the science behind exactly how to do it. It's perfect for people over 50 who want to train smart, not necessarily just harder, and who want to avoid injury whilst making the most progress possible. The video is totally free. You can take it by entering your details in the link in the description box below, and I hope it's really useful for you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one.